What the plan is that's going on. But one thing that is good is a lot of people are waking up. There's not enough of people awake in Washington, but there are a lot of you are waking up. Not only have you awakened with regard to the Federal Reserve and all, but you know, when you heard about Stop Online Piracy Act, guess what? A lot of people called their congressmen. They took those off the docket. They're not even working on it. It still works. The system can work. It's just that we have been inundated with bad philosophy, bad economic philosophy, and loss of confidence in the true free society. But when the people wake up, it will work. And this is what's so exciting about talking to so many young people across the country. And the enthusiasm isn't just spotty. It's wherever I go, people like you are very interested. You're understanding that there are problems. And it's just not picking and choosing the special interests. It's structural. It's philosophic. This is what has to be changed.
That's right! Yes, that's right!
Now, we're working hard, at least pretending, in Washington on the budget. But you know, the crisis is not a budgetary crisis. The budget is the symptom of the crisis of us understanding what the role of government ought to be. The role of government in foreign policy should not be to be the policeman of the world. And that's what we are, so that has to move. The role of government shouldn't be the nanny state and taking care of everybody from cradle to grave and bankrupting the country and put in programs that don't work. So it's the role of government that has to be addressed, and then the budget comes into place. But it's not technically a budgetary problem, because the tinkering that they do is just unbelievably minor. Today, today we're working on the budget, and the proposal is, on the Republican side, the conservative budget is, to cut proposed increases, but not to cut any spending, just the proposed increases. It actually increases the military spending, because that's some part of the budget that's being done. But don't worry, they're planning to balance the budget in 30 years.
Yeah, 2040. That's a mortgage.
So I think the problems are very obvious. I think the crisis is at our doorstep. But the enthusiasm for change is there. It has to be done. It will be done. Even if we don't change things with the Federal Reserve in a calm, deliberate fashion, the system is going to collapse itself, because they end up destroying the money. But we should be very optimistic that we can accomplish this, because the people are responding in a very favorable way. But we also have to change a couple attitudes. So often, I'm sure some of you have been accused of this, that you just want to go back to the Dark Ages. You want to go back to the Dark Ages, back to the Constitution, and things like that. Back to these Dark Ages. But you know where the Dark Ages are? They endorsed tyranny. That's where the Dark Ages are. That's been around for a long time. Freedom is a new idea. Relatively speaking, in history, has been really tested best in this country, and we've sort of given up on this. So we don't want to go back. What we want to do is pick up the pieces where they were and improve on it. We can have a better gold standard. We can have a better understanding of individual liberty. We certainly can have a better understanding, or at least improve upon what the founders advised about a foreign policy of non-intervention in friendship and trade. I think, for instance, that we ought to admit that sanctions don't work. Sanctions aren't actually an act of war. So whether it's sanctions against the Iranians or sanctions against Cuba, don't you think it's about time we started talking to the Cubans and going to the Castros are still living down there, and after 40-some years, they've used us as the scapegoat and blamed us for all the problems. So there's so many things that we can improve upon and pick up the pieces. But bringing with the principles of liberty and this whole idea of freedom is such a wonderful answer to our problems, because everybody should endorse freedom, whether you're left, right, middle, conservative. Because what it does is it invites the answers to our problems, because we do have diversity. We have diversity in religion. So the diversity of how you're going to use your freedom is so important. You know, if you use it one way, but the one thing it takes is tolerance of others. If they do things that you don't like, and you can't say, oh, that's terrible, we have to have a law against that because I don't like what they're doing. As long as you don't hurt other people and mind your own business, it will work. Together. It brings left and right together on civil liberties and war, and even on the spending policies. It should bring us all together. In Washington, and even today, and you know, lately in the last few weeks, I've been getting a lot of suggestions, a lot of advice from the media and from other people. They keep saying, when are you going to drop out of this? When are you going to quit being overly rigid? When are you going to start compromising? My answer to that is there's been way too much compromising for way too long. Because that's exactly what they do. The leadership of both parties compromise, and they have the same foreign policy, they have the same monetary policy, they have the same spending policies, they have the same entitlement system, and they endorse this whole principle of lobbyists running the show and fighting for their piece of the pie. So what we need really is actually less compromise. We need coalition building. We need to bring people together. I believe our Constitution and the principle of liberty will bring us together. And if we accept these basic principles of more tolerance for other people, just remember, tolerance doesn't mean endorsement. You know, I happen to think, for instance, that the drug war is totally useless. To abuse our liberties and all, but I also think that drugs are very bad. But I also believe that if people make those decisions, but when you do this because somebody might misuse the drugs, then all of a sudden we have this argument about using medicinal marijuana. Then we have courts, the Supreme Court comes up and say, oh, we have a right to regulate that under interstate commerce too, because you can't raise marijuana in your backyard to take care of medical problems. These are the kind of things that people have to make up their own mind. I can have my opinion. I advise everybody. I advise my children and grandchildren that drugs are very dangerous, and we should recognize that. But to make up your own minds about this is your business. You have to suffer the consequences. If you look at the consequences of the drug war, it's a disaster. It's a $1 trillion deficit. I think over the 20, 30 years, it's like $3 trillion of debt that has accumulated. You know, because of our laws this year, on January 1st, our country ushered in 46,000 new laws. That's too many. What I'd like to do is repeal 46,000 laws. We can do that, we must do that, but we have to restore this confidence that we need. And this is actually where we're making tremendous progress. What we need to do is continue to be energized. We each have a responsibility. If you endorse what I say and understand it, you know, you're going to be in a group, because most people never care about politics. The majority of people actually don't vote, and the majority who vote decide a day or so before. The fact that you come out and you're interested in this, and if you understand this, actually the burden falls on you to do something about it.
That's right! He's right!
And just remember, you don't have to have 51%. You need this irate, tireless minority willing to start brush fires. Reap the benefits from liberty must, like men, undergo the fatigue of supporting it. So it will take a little bit of work, but I don't think it takes sacrifice. It takes work, but not sacrifice. People say, "Oh, to get over this, we have to sacrifice." If I return your liberty to you and give you the chance to work hard and keep what you earn, get the government out of your life, out of your wallet, out of your bedroom, and leave you alone, that's not a sacrifice. less people in prison because we have too many laws. We have 5% of the population of the world. We have 25% of the prisoners. There's something messed up. I think it's because we have way too many laws. Is what I think the problem is. But, you know, the tests were there, and we saw the results, and then our country has given up on it. But right now, I think we're on the verge of making a better decision. And this is the reason we should be optimistic, and we should be very positive, and take upon yourself to do something about it. A lot of people, after I speak, they'll come and say, what should I do, what should I do? Do whatever you want to do. People do different things. Some people run for office. Some people even get elected to office. Some people help other people run for office. Some people are pretty good at earning money, and they donate to other causes. Some people become teachers. Some people actually go into journalism. I'd like to see a lot more freedom lovers go into journalism. Job for each and every one of us, and one thing with certainty, you know, when an idea's time has come, it can't be stopped. The ideas of liberty have been around, but they've been lying dormant. I think your generation is awakening a lot of people, not only your generation, but a lot of other people who've been holding back and looking for a little encouragement. But, you know, they say that armies can't stop it. I think they can stop individuals at times, and they can put roadblocks in front of a few politicians. But the ideas they cannot stop. It is the idea. And when the revolution is truly successful, it will not be a partisan issue. It will not be a Republican issue. Just as the problem in Washington is the compromising and this coalition building in Washington of right and left doing the wrong things, when the time comes when there is the coalition of individuals coming together and the revolution is successful, it will be by ideological, and it will be pervasive, and it will spread through the nation. It is already starting, it's growing. And I am convinced that the goal ought to be peace and prosperity, and this is the way we seek peace and prosperity. If we want in our personal lives to seek virtue and excellence, which I think is a pretty good idea, you can't do it with the government telling you what to do. If the government wants to make you virtuous and excellent and wealthy and all this, all they do is undermine our liberties. And this is the reason that the free society is the best society. And it's the only humanitarian society. The opposition who say that we're going to have forced redistribution of wealth and give houses, free houses, and all this, and free food to everybody, they do this and make us look like we're not humanitarian, we don't care about our fellow man. The truth is, if you're a humanitarian, you care about your fellow man, you care about prosperity, you care about correcting the problems of starvation, you have to believe in liberty, the free market, and sound money. That will produce our peace and prosperity that we all desire.